I'm building this modular hexagonal 3D terrain set for my gaming table, and I'm trying to do it without painting, flocking, or 3D printing anything. In previous videos, we've built out almost all of the tiles needed for this table. Now it's finally time to return to the gaming room, handle some final details, and then begin our final assembly of the table. Let's get to it. So I'm back in the gaming room, and I've got a bunch of my river or stream sections finished, and I think they just look so good. I had been thinking that, well, what I might need to do is come in here with some type of Bondo or some other kind of plaster or something like that and fill in all of these parts with the cardboard and then paint them and then maybe even put in some water effects or something like that in here. But actually, I don't really think you need to do that at all. Not for at least this project, being that it is, what it is, being a cardboard kind of modular terrain. You don't really see the edges of the river all that much anyway when now I'm standing here at my table. I know you're looking straight down, but even when I'm looking from an angle. So I don't really think I need to go to all the trouble to do that. Maybe in a future project, but for this one, I think just that's going to look just great. I'm ready to start laying in all the different rows here, but in order to do that, what I want to do is I want to put in some type of rail. I had the idea that rather than try to do a whole border, some people want to do a whole frame or something like that. I should just take this piece, and I know you can't see it all the way, completely on the video, but this piece that is going to be as long as my setup, and I should go ahead and stain this so that it matches my table, but then I'll take this and I'm just going to put some wood screws into it, maybe 2 or 3 max, and that way I'll have a nice solid lip and a rail to start taking my pieces and putting them down, and then I'm just going to start doing that and building out row by row. So I'm going to run out and stain those. Alright, I'm back from the staining operation and I'm screwing that rail into the table. You might not want to do this with your grandmother's heirloom quality dining room table, but I built this table myself for gaming so I can do whatever I want with it. I think that when I want to go back to board gaming, I can unscrew this rail and no one will even notice the holes anyway. Now we're basically to the fun part, and that's putting together all of the tiles as they should go to make up the table. With the rail installed, what I decided to do was that I would just start working row by row from the rail all the way across to the other side of the table, finishing off any final detail here or there on the tile that needs to get finished in order for the table to be complete. Most of this was just heading outside with some styrofoam and the spray mount to put a Terra tile on a single piece of styrofoam whenever it needed it. That was the easy part. If I had had all these pieces at my house ready to go from the very beginning, and here I'm thinking most especially about the laser-cut cardboard hexagons for the inside streams, this could all totally have been done in a single day without issue. I'm very glad I did the streams the way I did, however, because it really adds a lot to the table, but it did mean I had to wait a few extra days for the parts to arrive. Whatever, it was totally worth it. We are getting closer and closer to being done, but one of the things that I have to do is I have to paint the inside edges here. Yep, I know. It looks like I didn't get all the way through this project without having to paint anything. I got really close though, but the exposed edges of these tiles really need to be painted so they don't stand out so shock white against the table. But really, this is the easiest possible paint job you could possibly do on a project like this. It takes no artistry at all and can be done in just a few minutes. So I'll take it. I'm not going to worry about the cardboard, like I said, but this is white styrofoam, and you do see that. So what I'm thinking about doing is just painting this with this brown. This is just general, all purposes. It says acrylic craft paint, and it says earth brown. I think that's going to look better than trying to get some type of green in here, because we got so much green on top of the tiles. I don't want to have to try to match it, and I don't want to look different, but I think some kind of earth would look really good. So I've masked off a whole bunch of these pieces, these top pieces of these tiles. I hope that's going to make it easy for me just to come in and use the paint and paint in all these tiles. Some of them I don't have masked. We'll see if that's easier. I don't think I'll have to paint all the way around the tiles, because if it's a flat edge like that, that should mean that it's hidden by some other tile or at the very edge of the board. So I'm hoping that this won't take too long, and we'll just paint this, and then we'll get them to be able to be stuck on the board on the second layer. That looks pretty good, and that was easy. I could go over here, but these are the sides I don't think are going to be seen. But still, I like fast and easy just like that, so let's try to get these done. It might be just as easy to paint these without the clipping, the masking tape, as long as you paint down, because I don't have to worry about a whole lot of paint on top of the tiles. But it looks like as long as I'm painting in this direction and just painting down on top, I don't get a lot of paint on the top of the tiles, And that might be just as fast and easy. That'd be nice. Looks good, I think. Okay, now it's time to return to the gaming table to put down that second level for the elevations. This basically just meant I needed to glue down the right parts in the right places, and I used white glue and also tacky glue for most of this, but that was partially because I had run out of my spray mount. I wanted to assemble all of the pieces together like this, so I made sure they all lined up exactly the way that I wanted them to make this layout. Of course, I can disassemble the whole table later and use these parts to assemble a new layout. That's the purpose of it being a modular terrain table anyway, but at least I knew that this layout goes together just the way I wanted it to go. Look at this. Here is the final table. Doesn't it look amazing? I love it. And especially since it wasn't even all that much work, it all just went together and then came together very well. There is so much gaming that can be done on this table. I'm very excited about it. And I even got my 4 layers of elevation in, if you count the stream here as one layer of elevation. So up here I've got 1, 2, the main level here, 3, and then 4 right there. Now I could come in and I could add another layer of elevation up here if I wanted to. There's still some room to work with up here. I came pretty close to my original sketch. It's not exactly the same as my original sketch, because I ended up using some different pieces and parts and things like that, but I came very close. But if I wanted to, I could add more elevation over here and then go up another level over here or something like that, but I think this is great. That's obviously a big advantage of the modular tiles. So if I want to change up something over here or change the look down here, all I have to do is remake one of the tiles, take out a tile and put a new tile in, and I've got the change in setup. And plus, this gives me a really nice set of tiles that creates an entire battlefield here that I can use to create other battlefields in the future. The next time I want a new battlefield set up, well, I can just sketch something else out and then figure out what tiles I already have, because I obviously already have a bunch of them, and then just figure out what tiles I need to make, and it'll take even less time to go down to the workshop, make up those tiles, and then come back out here and have a completely new setup and new battlefield for when I'm ready. I still think there are a couple of other things that we could do here. We could add in some trees, we wanted to have some buildings, so I want to be sure to do that as well, but I think we'll do that in another video. Man, I think it looks great. I hope you do too. So that's it. That's making a modular hexagonal terrain table without flocking or 3D printing and using only the most minimal painting you can possibly imagine. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want some Terra tiles for your table, I'm re-releasing them through GameFound. The link is below, so please do check it out. And also, please do stop by my YouTube channel. There's a lot more on tabletop, fantasy, and gaming on the channel. It's all organized by playlist, so I will see you in another video, but until then, happy gaming.